guys? Happy Sunday. I'm so curious to know, who didn't have daylight savings time? Because I know that this has been a thing in the past before where we've been like, there's some countries that don't do it and there's some countries that do. So I wanted to make sure to like notify everybody this morning. So I'm curious, do you guys do daylight savings time? Yeah, okay. So Eva says we didn't have it yet in Greece. When do you have it? You'll have to excuse my hair today. I washed my hair yesterday, but I haven't styled it yet, so it's a little it's crazy. In Italy, it's the last Sunday of March. Ooh, I like that. I think it's around the spring equinox, so in 2 weeks or so. See, that to me makes more sense. I don't know why we do it when we do. But yeah, it was last night, so I was so confused this morning when I woke up and it was dark still, but it was apparently 7. I was like, this does not make sense. But that'll hopefully change. The nice thing about it is now in the evening, it'll feel brighter later. So I just realized, so we've painted in here. We were painting the windows, and I don't think I have my incense lighter in here anymore. I'm just gonna run and grab it really quickly. What's everybody drinking today? I brought a half calf, so cheers. You're welcome to bring a drink today. Just so you guys are aware though, for our stretch, it might be difficult to have your drink, so I would enjoy your drink now. Sophie says, holy smokes, I totally forgot about daylight savings. I was so confused why I slept till 9 a.m. Don't worry, you technically only slept till 8. Oh my gosh, Jasmine, that sounds so good. A cinnamon bun decaf latte? Yes. Where did you even, I'm assuming you got that from a cafe. That sounds so good. I was up playing Hogwarts Legacy when it changed, got like 5 hours of sleep. That's hilarious. How are you liking the Hogwarts Legacy? I had an oat milk peppermint mocha at home. Ooh, also sounds delicious. And hey, Stephanie. Okay, real quick, like I said, I'm just gonna keep doing this from now on. I'm gonna play this at the end of our stream today, but this is the Sunday playlist, Sundays in Spring playlist. This is our playlist for spring, so for March, April, May. And that link allows you to be a collaborator, or you can just like the playlist if you don't want to add any songs. The whole idea behind the playlist is to add music that you feel like fits the spring vibe for our club, and then anybody can listen to it at any time. I've been listening to it quite a bit through the week, actually. Um, just if you want some music that's a bit of yours, but also a bit of everybody else's, and that fits the spring vibe. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is this is the March Google Drive access. I'm going to keep sending these at the beginning as well, just in case anybody misses them. So this is where you'll find all of the downloads for this month. The Sunday Club live streams, the monthly wallpapers, the community calendars, and such. I'm going to run really, really quick. I just want to burn my incense because I feel like it helps me channel. So keep chatting. This will take me 2 seconds. I'm just going to run and grab something to light my incense. Alrighty. Also, I'm not sure if you guys can see out the window. Can you see Calvin? Outside hunting. It's like decently warm today, so all the pets are loving it. And today I'm going to be burning the third eye incense to go with our third eye and our detox challenge. Okay, so I have a couple things to go over just before we jump into our stream today. So again, I would encourage you to enjoy your drink now because our third eye detox flow is going to be a bit of a challenge because we're going to close our eyes for most of it. Um, Avalon says, Kalyn, your outfit is so cute, and thank you. These are from this one. I got this shirt when I was pregnant, and it's so comfy now. And then these leggings, I actually got these too last year when I was pregnant. I'm feeling the spring vibes, the spring colors. Oh, are we talking about the Elvis movie? Anyone watch the Oscars last night? I did not. I always watch with my mom. It's a tradition. That sounds so nice. I'm not, I am not, but I hope Austin Butler gets one. He's so good. He was so good in Elvis. He was amazing in Elvis. Great movie. A little long, but really good. Okay, really quickly, a couple announcements just for this week. The first being, we're gonna do the poll this week for the book club read for April. April's gonna be a spring fiction. I messed up when I said classic or not, but think My Secret Garden. What I meant was The Secret Garden. I was trying to find the Secret Garden book. And I think I read it once when I was really little, but I don't remember much of it at all. I just remember the front cover. And so I was Googling My Secret Garden, and there's this book that came up from 1973 that was all about like women's fantasies. And I was like, this can't be the book. I know I read it as a kid, and I know that wasn't the book I read. So it's actually The Secret Garden. So that's one of our options, is The Secret Garden. The other two that we have so far are The Enchanted April and Chocolate by Joanne Harris. So those three books are so far what are in the poll. We have room for two more options to vote from. So it can be classic, it doesn't have to, but very much under that The Secret Garden vibes, like very just spring fiction, but not, I feel like we just did a nice corny romantic fiction, in February. So I feel like this one needs to have a little bit less, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I don't know exactly the energy or how to describe it, but I feel like it's gotta be good, a really good one. So if anybody has any ideas, you can leave them in the chat or you can leave them on Discord, and that vote will be going out this week. And then just to check in, first and foremost, how is everybody's non-spending challenge going? I would check out that Instagram, but I just deleted the app for this week's detox. We're gonna get into that as well. How's the non-spend going? So awful. I bought like 15 books. Guys, I caved and I bought more overalls. So I don't know what to do. I feel like it's either gonna be I'm gonna add an extra day in April onto my no spend challenge, or I'm gonna take the cash that I put into buying overalls and put it back into savings, I can't choose what my recommendation is going to be for caving. First time here. I'm so happy for that. Welcome, Tay. Nicole goes, way to go, Avalon. I'm putting all of mine on lockdown for a week, but I don't remember my passwords, so I don't want to delete them. Okay, well, write them down before you start. We're going to get into planning our dopamine detox later in the stream. I bought coffee and takeout, but other than that, it was good. Perfect. I just got back from vacation, so I'll be better not spending for the rest of the month. Uber Eats made me spend. I just need groceries ASAP. The only thing I bought was food. Okay, so that I feel like is fine. Everybody was allowed to make their own rules, and I included one day of takeout, so I also got food on Friday. Kind of okay. I did order one vinyl though, but other than that, okay, I guess I failed. See, I ordered a pair of overalls too. I caved a little bit. It's hard. It's harder than I thought. But I was thinking about the overalls for a week. I'm trying to justify my purchase, but oh well. So yeah, I'm gonna either add a day or take the money I put into overalls and put it into savings and be like, okay, that'll be my justification, or at least my do good for failing a little bit. Katarina says, I may break my no spend to buy sunglasses. I didn't have any and it's starting to get really sunny. See, that to me would fit into health and hygiene, because you want to take care of your eye health. So justified. I bought some new skincare and takeout, but other than that, it's going good. Again, work the parameters to work for you. To me, skincare could also be technically part of your care and hygiene, depending on how you bought your skincare, right? I love all your plants in the back. It looks like a jungle. Thank you. This guy's thriving over here, my fiddle leaf. Okay, and then the last update is, how was everybody's health week? There was only one day I wasn't able to do my move for 20 minutes, and that was on Friday. Otherwise, it's gone well. Today's going to be the way that I'm doing the challenges is that the challenges end on Sunday and the new challenge starts on Monday. It's obviously up to you guys how you want to do it. I know a couple people said they already logged out of their social media, which go ahead and start today. I'm going to start Monday tomorrow. So today's going to be my last day for the health challenge. And yeah, it went well aside from Friday. And I was really bad for taking my vitamins until Wednesday when I finally brought all my vitamins downstairs and put them on the kitchen table. And then I actually have been taking them now, which has been good. Yeah, so it went pretty well. Anybody else have any updates from the health week? Anything you're gonna bring forward? I'm gonna keep trying to move 20 minutes a day. Paige said, I had a baby last month and a friend brought a lot of cookies, but other than that, really happy with how healthy I've been eating. Justified. You birthed a baby, eat all the cookies. How do I access to your yoga videos? This week I was doing daily yoga. So if you're on YouTube, there is a membership tier that allows you to have access to all of the yoga videos. It's one tier higher than the regular tier access. If you have problems with it, I can help you through it via Discord. My health has been so bad this week. I had to push myself at work because I am about to change positions and need to do my best, but I'm trying to take as much as possible to do what's good for me. And that's really kind of the point of the whole optimal health. And that's why it was so open, was that whatever week you guys were going through, it was like, how can you optimize your own health given that week? Even if you wanted to, you could tap it into your cycle. Like I'm about to enter the week that's like prelude to my actual cycle starting. So I know this week I need to be a bit more chill than last week. So it's not so much like if you feel like you did it perfectly, it's more so were you able to kind of wave with what was going on through the week and still feel like you took care of yourself. So that was the point behind our challenge. And then we'll jump into this a little later because I do want to get into our stretch. But our challenge for this week is going to be a digital and or dopamine detox challenge. The idea is picking 1 to 3 things, depending on how intense you want your challenge to be this week, to detox from. And that those are things that you feel like you get a fast dopamine hit from that aren't necessarily good for you, because there's things that we get dopamine from that are great for us, like, exercise or hugging people that we love or chilling with our pets or laughter. Like those are dopamine hits that are healthy. These are more so unhealthy dopamine hits, which I feel like social media is a great one. And we can get into, again, everybody's welcome to set the rules however they want to, that's going to best support you this week. But we can get into like what's going to be included and not included for social media for all of us and such. So we'll jump into all of that a little bit later. For now, if you're going to be stretching, then get into a comfortable open space to stretch. Feel free to bring your drink and leave it close by if you'd like to pause for sips. Today we're doing a third eye detox stretch. And if you're not stretching, you're welcome to keep chatting amongst each other in the chat bar. You'll have to forgive me again. This is just the last bit of my, it's not even congestion. I'm just still a little bit sniffly. So it's the last bit of it. And if you hear that, I apologize. I'm gonna take another big sip and we'll dive right in. So today we're gonna start our stretch in child's pose. So opening your knees nice and wide and lowering down towards the ground. Rest your forehead against the earth and close your eyes. And begin with 3 deep breaths. You can begin rocking your head from side to side, almost like you're saying no, massaging out your forehead or the space of your third eye. And keeping your eyes closed, slowly begin to lift your head. And then lift your seat. Come onto your hands and your knees, keeping those eyes closed. As best as you can, bring your hands below your shoulders and your knees below your hips. You can just try and feel it out. It doesn't need to be perfect. Keeping the eyes closed. And begin gently rocking backwards and forwards, stretching out the wrists. You can rock from side to side or create little semicircles. And then come back to center. Turn each hand so your fingers are facing away from each other towards the sides. And again, keeping those eyes closed, just begin gently rocking from side to side. Really feeling into the wrists. And then pause back at center and turn your hands one more time so your fingers are directed towards your knees. And lean forward first, take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, begin to lean back, just gently, slightly. You don't have to go very far. Once you feel the stretch, just hold. Keep those eyes closed and breathe. And then slowly sit back on your heels, peeling your hands from the earth. Nice and gentle and slow. Keep your eyes closed. Place your hands, palms up towards the sky on your knees. Take a nice deep breath. And then again, place your hands back down towards the earth, walk them forward. See if you can do it with your eyes closed. Tuck your toes, lift your knees and seat, coming into downward facing dog. You can take some organic movement here until you find a down dog that feels good. And continue to breathe nice and deep. Begin rocking your hips from side to side, stretching out each side as you breathe. And as you come back to center, shift your weight over into your right foot. And on an inhale, draw your left foot high towards the sky. And then exhale, bend the knee, lean forward into plank, and place your foot between your hands. See if you can do it with your eyes closed. But if you need to take a look, that's fine. Lower the back knee, untuck the back toe. Energetically draw your legs together as you engage your core. Inhale and come up with both hands. This will be the most challenging part with your eyes closed. If you need to open them to regain balance, do so, and then close them again when you're ready. Bringing your hands together just above your head, close your eyes. And take a deep breath. letting your third eye guide you as you stretch, really tuning into the body and how each position feels. And on your next exhale, bring both hands to frame your front foot. Again, keeping the eyes closed. Inhale. And as you exhale, push into your front foot, begin straightening into the front leg. Doesn't need to be perfectly straight. And fold over that front knee, getting a nice deep hamstring stretch. And again, you can find stillness or you can rock a little bit from side to side, whatever feels best. You continue to breathe. And then on an inhale, lean back forward into that front foot, bending into the front knee. Tuck the toe of the right foot. Lift the knee of the back leg. Engage your core, energetically squeeze your thighs together as you inhale and come up. Again, if you need to open your eyes for balance, feel free to do so. But if you can, try and keep your eyes closed. And just hold for one full breath. We're drawing your hands back down to frame the foot. Step that foot back into downward facing dog. And take 3 deep breaths here with the eyes closed. Just notice how it feels to be in your body with the eyes closed. You can bring awareness to anything that crosses your mind, any images or colors or things you see. When you're ready, shift your weight into your left foot. Inhale and draw the right knee or the right leg high towards the sky. Exhale, bend the knee, lean forward into plank. Step, walk, or wiggle your foot between both hands. Open your eyes whenever necessary if you need to. Release the back knee, untuck the back toe. Engage your core, squeeze your thighs together. Inhale and draw the arms up. Go as slow as you need to go to keep your balance. Let your third eye guide you. Bring your hands together above your head and take a nice deep breath. Take a second to calm the mind. Trust the body. Release your hands to frame your front foot and push into that front leg. As you begin to straighten it out, leaning your seat back and folding over. Stop when you feel that deep stretch in your hamstring. Lower the third eye and just breathe. Let any thoughts or images just cross your mind as you come back to the body and the breath. And leaning back forward, bending into that front knee. Tuck the back toe and lift the back knee. Engage your core, squeeze your thighs together and go as slow as you need to as you begin to rise into Warrior One. Open your eyes if you need to at any point to regain balance. Bring your hands above your head and take one full deep breath. Trust your body. And release both hands back down to the earth. Step the foot back into downward facing dog and take a couple deep breaths here, recentering. When you're ready, slowly begin walking your feet up towards your hands. Keep those eyes closed. If you need to, you can walk your legs out a little bit or walk your hands in. Coming into any position that allows you to have both hands and both feet in contact with the earth. Your knees can be straight or bent. Doesn't matter how this looks. Just go with how it feels. And then release your neck so your head could just hang. Take a nice deep breath. Begin wiggling your head no and yes. Let your hands and your feet support you as you give your head a little rest. Almost like you're shaking out any bad thoughts or negative patterns. Releasing that tension from the neck and the head. And if your knees are bent, begin to slowly straighten them, even if that means it lifts your hands a bit. Keep your eyes closed. Take another deep breath. And on your next inhale, keeping the eyes closed, slowly begin to bloom into a standing position, unraveling one vertebrae at a time. Staying connected to the breath and connected to your feet with the eyes closed. Letting your head be the last thing that lifts. And take a nice deep inhale. Bring your shoulders up as you do. And as you exhale, drop your shoulders. Take a moment to just stand. It's optional if you'd like to bring one hand to the belly, one hand to your heart. And with the eyes closed, just breathe. You might notice that you sway or feel nice and firm. There's no wrong way to stand or feel. Just bringing awareness, presence, what it's like to just stand firm in your body. Again, keeping the eyes closed, bring your hands to your hips. If your feet are far apart, you can walk them a little closer together. And just begin making circles with your hips, going one way, and then the other. And standing nice and firm, your feet roughly below your hips. Inhale and draw the arms up nice and slow. Lift your chin, keep the eyes closed. Almost as if you can envision whether it's the sun or the moon, whatever speaks to you. And exhale, begin to fold forward, keeping the eyes closed. Bring your hands down to the earth. You can bend the knees. Inhale and come up halfway, a nice flat back, hands on the floor or to your shins. Exhale, fully fold forward, bring your hands back down to the earth, lower your seat down towards your heels, almost like you're squatting or crouching. And then sit back on your seat and stretch your legs out in front of you. Take a deep inhale as the hands come up. Exhale, lean forward. Keep the eyes closed. Notice where you feel the sensation as you pause into this stretch. You can point and flex your feet or just find stillness. Again, just let your body guide you as your eyes are closed. Sitting back up straight, nice long spine. Bend your left knee. Bring your left foot to the inside of the right thigh. And lean to reach for your right foot as you bring your left arm up and over. The eyes closed. Just breathe. And even with the eyes closed, begin to tilt your head as if you're looking towards the sky, just slightly or gently. It doesn't need to be all the way. And coming back up, straighten into the left leg, bend into the right knee, bring the right foot to the inside of the left thigh. Deep inhale as you lengthen into the spine. Exhale, reach for the left foot with your left hand and up and over with the right arm. Take a nice deep breath into the right side of the body. And again, just gently tilt your chin and face as if you're looking towards the sky, but with your eyes closed. Rise back up. Now take a moment to come into any final resting position that calls to you now. You can go back into child's pose with your third eye on the ground. You can just stay seated with the eyes closed, or you can recline down onto your back into Savasana. Whatever's going to feel best for you as you relax and breathe. Let any thoughts that come just cross by like clouds in the sky. You can remain curious to any images or colors or things you might see with your eyes closed, but again, just let them pass. And with a deep inhale, imagine as you exhale, you clear the canvas of your third eye. You don't see anything, it's just blank. And then you picture yourself in a room. There's not much to do, there's not much stimulation, you're feeling a little restless. There's a sense of boredom that lingers over you. And in this moment, you feel an urge to do something that'll give you a little dopamine hit that will make you feel excited in this state of boredom. What is it? Just observe without judgment what you would catch yourself reaching for. Now imagine you could take yourself out of this room and put yourself anywhere else instead that would give you the same feeling of joy and excitement without that thing you reached for. You might picture yourself laying in the sun, out in nature, around loved ones, doing a hobby. What else could bring you that sense of excitement and joy? And then whenever you're ready, begin moving. You can even open your eyes and notice where you landed on your mat. Might be an entirely different position from where you started. You can take any movements or any stretches that your body might be asking for now. And grab onto whatever you would like to use to write today or plan today. So our first prompt of the day is going to be exactly the image test, I guess you could say, that we just did. And if anybody feels open to sharing, feel free to let the group know, what was it that you reached for? What bad habit did you go for to perk up your mood in that state of boredom and restlessness? Also, the date is Sunday, March 12th for anybody that is titling their page. Melon says, definitely scrolling on my phone. Alicia says, are we saying this is an empty room or one that could contain anything we would want to reach for? It would be like you start in the empty room, there's nothing there. And if you will, the minute that you would want something that would make you feel joy or excitement in this bored, lackluster room, it would just, manifest itself if you could grab for it. Probably should have made that differentiating factor. It's like the room of requirement, but for bad habits. Melissa says, definitely scrolling on my phone. So you just changed your name? Because I think it was Melons before, but I'm glad you changed it because I had a feeling your name wasn't Melons. Karen says, I reached for a coloring book or an adult creative story. What came to me, if it could be somewhere else, was to envision myself in like Lion Witch and a wardrobe. That's the kind of book I would like to have. Okay, super interesting. You grabbed for something good. Room requirement, got bad habits. Yeah. Mine was definitely my phone. I feel like do you guys ever catch yourself in line? I feel like that would have been another good example too, but I feel like, when you're in line, you can't always reach for your worst habit, but when you're in line or you're waiting for something, or you feel uncomfortable, or you feel bored, or you feel awkward, like what do you usually go for? And I think like definitely I think for a lot of us, but for sure for me, I reach for my phone and it's like I'll mindlessly scroll on things that I'm not even really processing, you know? It's like a mindless scroll. I'm not really getting anything from what I'm seeing. Because there are times where I feel like we can be on our phones and it's not necessarily a bad habit if we're doing it mindfully instead of mindlessly. Like, for instance, there's times I go on Pinterest and I actually feel like I get something out of it. You know, I feel different when I walk away from it. But there's a limit, and I feel like it takes a level of consciousness to know, oh, I'm doing it again. I'm doing something without any awareness around it. I missed a couple messages. I was trying so hard not to like during that entire stretch, so my voice probably got so funny. Yes, I didn't even know that it was melons until you read it. I don't know how that mistake happened. It's kind of a mood. Caitlin says, first proper stretch since hurting my knee 2 weeks ago. It felt great. Mine is also scrolling on my phone. I'm glad it felt good. Did anybody open their eyes and realize they were in a completely different direction? Because I did. I opened my eyes and my back was facing the camera and I was like, oops. So I had to reposition. If all I have is my body, then I'm moving it and energizing. I guess I missed the bad habit line. I probably should have said, what bad habit do you reach for? I didn't word it properly, but you could re-envision it now. What bad habit would you be reaching for? I did picture myself in the room of requirement looking for my phone, which tells me I need to detox from playing Hogwarts Legacy. Bad habit, shopping on Amazon. This is also so common. And I feel like this is a new thing, and maybe I'm just seeing it, but let me know if your algorithms are doing the same thing to you. Do you guys ever, like, I don't use TikTok, but I use Instagram. And when I'm on Instagram, I'll stumble across reels that'll be like things you need from Amazon that you didn't know you needed. And I'm like, actually, I don't need any of these things. They seem really cool, but need is not the word to be used here. And there'll be random things that would be really cool to have, but I'm like, these are literally reels that say spend really random money on really random things. I randomly thought of a book too. See, okay, so that's actually really good because that, in a sense, I mean, I didn't say bad habit, but that's good to know that your initial reaction when you think, okay, what's going to give me a burst of joy is healthy things like a book. It means you're well on your way. Also, I'll drop the next prompt for anyone that's moving on to the next one. Yeah, the first prompt is you imagine yourself alone in a room, you're sitting and you're bored. The restlessness leaves you reaching for a bad habit to perk up your mood. What is it? I was trying to go on memory when I was saying it out loud, hence why I didn't use the exact right verbiage, perhaps. Skylar says, I canceled my Prime membership and I've saved a lot of coin. Yes, okay, I did that. And then I reinstated my Prime membership back when I got pregnant. And it's so true. Like I saved so much money and now I might need to get back into to canceling it again. But it's just like sometimes I need baby things and I need them quick, like diapers. But again, like I could get in my car and go to the store. That is such a lame excuse. I think it's just winter. Winter makes me not want to do that, but thank God spring's here. You're inspiring me. I might have to cancel mine again. I'm calling myself out. I'm really good at adding to cart, but never checking out. That's good. That's good. At least you're like one step, you stop yourself, you know? Eva says, I know the algorithm hears us, but yesterday I was looking specifically for a purple or green dress. And even though I didn't click on any purple or green dresses, the Instagram ads were all of green and purple dresses exclusively, and it freaked me out completely. This has happened to me multiple times. And yeah, it is kind of creepy. I'm like, it's really getting to know me. Kim says, I think recently I'd need the most detox from YouTube. I've been falling for way too much clickbait on my homepage. Also, hi everyone, I'm happy to be here. And hello, Kim. I feel that. We were talking about this a couple weeks ago. I think it may have been the Galentine's Day event, where it's like, as a creator, I can understand like clickbaity titles or even clickbaity thumbnails because I understand why people do it, because basically there is so much oversaturation right now on social media that you almost have to do something catchy to get people to want to click your content. It sucks though, because I feel like it takes away a lot of the, what's a good word for it? I don't know. I just feel like sometimes people's content, you would hope that content could just speak for itself. But because there's so much content to watch or so much content to be out there kind of like following now, people almost have to be extreme to get people to watch or click. And it sucks because I feel like it takes away, there's a word I'm looking for, but it takes away like, it makes it feel cheap. Does that make sense? It's not maybe the word I was looking for, but
Can I jump in here for a second
yes,
with what you were
please.
saying? I feel like we all need to detox because in a sense of the fear mongering we can find on TikTok, because people are trying to talk about the news and it's good to be socially aware, but the fear mongering, because you could just see people's like live reactions. And in the past like night when I wasn't able to sleep last night, and I just kept coming across video after video after video of this fear mongering of what's going on in the United States and in other parts of the country, and then people get a little aggressive in the sense of like, oh, if you scroll back to this video that means that you don't care about the issues. And it's like, no, sometimes I need to protect my mental health.
Sorry, I was muted there, so delayed response. But yes, 1000%. I mean, pretty much anything. Again, this is where it's like it gets that like cheap feel because again, you're right. There is definitely, you need to stay aware, but at the same time, we can't be constantly consuming that because it does create a state of fear. And two, again, it's so nuanced because another thing that can be true is anything that's trending, people will jump on because again, if it's getting more interactions on social media, then people will create more of that because it's trending right now and people are clicking on it or people are watching it or people are commenting or especially heated topics, heated debates, because that creates a lot of friction in the comment sections, which drives your content up on the algorithm. A sillier example of this, but if anybody watches Bose versus the World, I was just watching her video yesterday as I was folding laundry, and it was her video on like one of the things that are trending right now, a topic that's trending right now is like Selena Gomez and Hailey Bieber and their beef. And she was literally saying, like, if you go on TikTok right now, I don't have TikTok, but apparently on TikTok, this is like a huge trending topic right now where like everybody's talking about Hailey Bieber being a mean girl and like Kendall and the Jenners being mean girls and like Selena Gomez. And it's like, just because this is trending, so many people have hopped on it. And because so many people have hopped on it, there's a lot of like false narratives going on, like going around or being created because this is a trending topic. And that's just like a really good example of how something, because something is trending or because something is getting engagement, more people will create that. So like what you were saying, Willow, whether it's news or fears or high intensity things or just like, you know, people talking about people's private lives, that is just like, do we really care that much? It's not that important. It's not make or break. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Yes, exactly. I'm so sick of this celeb drama. Yeah, exactly too. And it's just like, can we just let these people be people, but also can we all just be aware that they're also just people? Like, Nicole says, does anybody actively avoid the trending topics that are celebrities, things, or just trendy things? I try to. That said, I did click on that video yesterday for from Bose. I just love Bose. I love her take on things. She's very balanced. Um, so curious, and feel free to just write it down. You don't have to say it in the chat or out loud or anything. But what choose now whether you're going to go for 1 to 3 things for your detox this week. So 1 to 3 habits or 1 to 3 things that you feel like you need to detox, and you can use the question that we just had. What do you feel needs to be detoxed from your habits, your mindset, or just your life in general? And decide now, like, what intensity level do you feel like you can handle this week? And there's a lot of things that could factor into that. Maybe you just want to go for one thing because you're having a lot going on right now. Maybe you're like, I need a full refresh. I'm going to go for 3 things. So decide first 1, 2, or 3 things that you're going to do. I'm going to go for 2, a nice balance in between. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I keep on having to sniff. Ooh, good one, Avalon. She says, I'm sick of having a lack mindset. I'm detoxing from that for sure. So then the follow up to this would be, what does detoxing this look like from your life? So this is especially important for mindsets because, like for Avalon, what would it look like to detox that from yourself? Is it going to be just catching yourself in a lack mindset and swapping it out for a different mindset? Like, what does that look like for you? Another one that you might want to plan. So for anybody that is doing a digital detox this week or a social media detox, that's one of my things. It's that and sugar. What does that look like for you? Where are the borders of your detox? So for instance, I'm going to allow YouTube because I'm going to be uploading to YouTube this week, but I'm going to log off of Instagram and decide now too. I guess this would be a good thing to prompt everybody with right now. Should we include the Discord in our social media detox? Or do you guys want to stay on the Discord this week? Because I know it can be kind of a happy place. And like, are you going to include Pinterest? Okay, this is a good point. Chrissy says, I know I should completely detox apps like Instagram and Twitter, but I feel like going from 100 to 0 is too much and I will not make it. So I set a timer for all of the apps that I want to detox from, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and set a limit for 30 minutes a day. I know it's not exactly like detoxing, but like I said, I don't want to set goals I know I won't reach. So this seems much better for me. That is detoxing. Like, if anything, you're doing it very wisely. And anybody can take that as inspiration too. That's kind of like the part we're doing right now. The planning portion of this is like, how is it going to work best for you? Because that's very James Clear of you for anybody that's read Atomic Habits. Instead of going from 100 to 0, you slowly bring your increments down. So I think that's actually a really smart way to do it. If anybody feels like, if you feel like you will fail if you just 100% log off for the week, if you just have that sense like, oh, I don't know if I can do that, try it that way. Try it, grab your phones or grab your devices now and go into your settings and create your time limits. Or if you're gonna log off, I'm just gonna log fully off of like Instagram, Facebook, all of that. And just allow, I originally said I wasn't gonna do Discord, but I'm gonna leave Discord and YouTube. And I think I'm gonna allow Pinterest just because I don't know. Oh, you know what? Maybe I'll take Pinterest off. It's so hard to say. Sometimes when I just want to go on Pinterest and just read happy things. Feel like that girl from Mean Girls. It's like, I just want everybody to get along. I want sunshine and rainbows, but that's like what that's not Instagram, sorry. That's what Pinterest feels like to me. So I'm gonna put yes and no. So I already have what my no's are, but to yes, I'm gonna allow Discord, YouTube for uploading. And also, question for anybody that's going really intense with the digital detox, are you going to be detoxing from streaming devices? Like streaming platforms, sorry, like Netflix, Prime, all of that. That could be included. It's up to whatever you feel like is going to best benefit you based on your question before. Like what feels like it's getting in your way? So this is another important point too, and this is why it's such an open-ended challenge. All of our challenges will always be open-ended for you to like set your boundaries for ways that are going to best benefit you, because what's going to best benefit me or anybody else isn't going to be the same for everybody. Like Alyssa just said, I would love to detox from social media, but scrolling to find content ideas for clients is part of my job, so it can be difficult. But I wish I could simply just delete the apps totally for a week. So exactly. So figure out what parameters would benefit you. Like, you could allow yourself like an hour during your work hours, or you could log off when you're logged out of work, again, whatever's going to work best for you. Yeah. I will definitely keep Discord as it's a social thing for me too, more like Insta or Twitter. Chatting with you guys makes me happy and I feel like it adds to my day instead of taking anything like energy. So I'm kind of feeling the same with the Discord. I feel like, especially now too, I've been, I created like a habit check off for me to make sure that I get on Discord at least once a day. And it's nice because I genuinely feel like these challenges that we're setting, that we're actually going through them through the week. Every time I go on Discord, it's like there's always something to talk about and something to update. And it makes me feel like I'm actually staying on top of my challenges myself. So I've been really enjoying it, and I think I'm going to allow the Discord for myself too, especially considering I'm technically the host of the Discord, so I'm going to allow Discord in this. Karen says, speaking of planning, Kalyn, I would love a work with me or plan with me video. I will try soon to engage more and work on my side business and would love some tips. Absolutely. So we actually do have a live community plan with me at the end of the month. It's on the 31st. But I can definitely do a vlog style one for my channel soon as well. And okay, I should drop, sorry, the last, I know we just did this prompt. I just don't think I put it in the chat. So I'm going to leave both of them. It was what 1 to 3 things will you refrain or challenge yourself to detox from? And like, how does that look for you? And here's a really good tip for anybody that really feels like, oh God, like when you're detoxing from something, it can be really overwhelming. So like, what are you going to replace it with instead? So for instance, I've been on a nice little sugar wave. I've been having like the best coffee creamer. It's silk hazelnut, but it's definitely got lots of sugar. I've been on a baking wave, lots of sugar. Sugar is like I've just been loving sugar lately. So I'm gonna try to do a week of no added sugar. So I can still eat like fruit and natural sugars and things like that. So what could I replace that with instead? Well, instead of having blueberry coffee cake, I'll just have blueberries. And I've settled on for my detox. Sometimes when you don't know exactly what you're not going to do, you can say what you are allowed to do. So for me, I'm allowed to go on Discord. I'm allowed to upload to YouTube. I'm not going to watch YouTube, and I'm allowed to go on Pinterest. Everything else I'm logging out of. And mine, so again, you can write down to what days do you want to start and what days are you going to end. So I'm going to do this from Monday. So starting tomorrow, I'm going to log out tonight and then go all the way through till our Sunday stream this exact time next week. Mine is YouTube Shorts, chocolate, and anger towards my old friend who hurt me. That sounds like a great detox, actually. Detoxing from anger, that's one of those like mindset things, right? So again, you might want to figure out how those parameters are going to work. Like when you catch yourself feeling angry, what is going to be like your activation to feel like you're detoxing that feeling? Might be like as difficult as this is, but this is coming from an experience that I had back in, gosh, 2021 still feels like last year to me, but I guess that was 2 years ago. I had to write letters of like forgiveness to people that I needed to let go of a lot of resentment I had in order to keep those relationships and feel okay about those relationships, but feel like I needed to work through some things that I was struggling with. So for you, Karen, like if that's what you feel like, if you feel like you're carrying anger, you could write a letter of forgiveness to that friend who hurt you, even if they haven't apologized. It's hard, but it's and if it doesn't feel right, like you don't have to, you could try it and you might be like, that didn't work, I still feel wronged. But it might also help you feel like you're giving yourself the forgiveness that you would wish to maybe give them, or you're releasing yourself from that anger. And Avalon makes a really good point too. I don't know who needs to hear this, but your emotions are not the enemy. Even bad emotions, they're not bad. They're just trying to tell you something. 1000%. Emotions are information. So even the emotions that we feel like we don't want to feel or we want to detox from, they're really just really good information. And again, like that would be the best way to maybe move. If you feel like you're channeling anger and like running on that emotion and it doesn't feel like it's working for you or supporting you or benefiting you, again, it's good information of ways that you can work that into something else. Like This makes me think of the burnout book we were just reading in January, but like you could use that to like, oh, I catch myself feeling angry all the time and I want to detox this anger from my life. It's like you could turn that anger into going for power walks, and like that power walk makes you feel like you're channeling your anger into something that's actually feeling good for you. Alexandra says, when did our hangout start? I thought it was supposed to start now. I think I missed half of it already. Yes, it's daylight savings time, so it's switched up. Are you on the Discord, Alexandra?
Yeah,
Hey,
I
Steph,
am.
you are?
Yeah.
Okay, because I had posted a little update. I had a feeling there was going to be a few that might miss it, but there was an update I posted that we had daylight savings time, so here we jumped ahead an hour.
Okay, I see.
I'm so sorry you missed the first
No
half, but
worries.
I've been also making sure to try and upload these on actual Sundays. So if you want to do the first half, I'll upload this right after we're done today. Tay says procrastination. I always think how my life will look like if I have done whatever I wanted to on time. Ooh, that's a good one. Does everybody feel like they know what what their dopamine detox is this week now? Do you feel like you have it properly planned? Like, what are you detoxing from? What is the parameters around that detox? What days are you doing it from? Is it from Sunday to Sunday, Sunday to Saturday? Are you going to allow yourself a Friday treat like we've been doing with the no spend challenge? Create your parameters, create your dates, and what are you going to replace your habit with? Stephanie says, I'll replace my social media habit with reading a book or journaling or writing instead of people pleasing. Ooh, that's a good one too. I'll start setting better boundaries for myself by not responding right away, giving myself time and space before giving someone my attention or an immediate answer. Wow, I love that. I also love the idea of replacing social media with a book, and I feel like I might do the same, especially because sometimes, like I said, when I'm folding laundry or I'm doing kind of a mindless task and Easton's sleeping, I tend to like put on YouTube videos or kind of scroll. So I feel like that's a good one, as I might listen to audiobooks instead of watching YouTube videos. And music actually too.
I feel like social media has just turned into this place of that everybody just got sucked into influencer culture.
Mm. I think too, it's almost one of those things where um, it's like human behavior in a way where when there's no, it's tough. It's such a nuanced thing because I don't think that anybody should be necessarily regulating our use. Like it should be down to us to decide how much social media we consume. But also too, when there is no regulation on something, human behavior, we tend to go in excesses, you know? It's such a tough thing because I really don't believe that anybody should be coming in and saying, okay, everybody's only allowed to go on social media an hour a day, because that's a little too controlling. But I also am like, when you leave when you leave people to their own vices, a lot of the times we only have so much discipline and control. I mean, a lot of the times we have to yield or wield that discipline and control to complete our jobs or do our day-to-day things to just like survive or like meet our needs. So then by the end of the day, we don't have any discipline or control left to stop ourselves from like binge watching Netflix or mindlessly scrolling. So it's a very nuanced thing. Nuanced has been like a word of the year along with presence. I feel like nuance has been like the lesson of the year, that like the truth is always somewhere in between and can be looked at from many different angles. Okay, we're gonna jump into the book club now, but I just want to make sure everybody feels like Everybody feels like they've got their detox ready. And again, we can use the Discord. For those of you guys that are including the Discord, we can use the Discord to keep each other motivated through the week as it starts to get hard. I feel like Wednesday is going to be the peak day where it's like, oh man, I'm really feeling it, you know, the peak of the week. So we can use Discord to keep each other like motivated, keep going. And then we can report back on Sunday how it goes. All right. And then feel free to grab onto your books. We are doing part 2 of The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Housel. Chelsea says, I keep direct messaging you guys on accident. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, it's no worries. I don't know. Zoom's confusing sometimes. Nicole says, nuance is freaking everywhere this year. Everywhere. It's so true. It's true though. I honestly do believe that it's so hard. It's a nuanced answer to even explaining what nuance is, but I do genuinely believe that like a lot of the things that are really important for us as a species and just as like a planet to be talking about are very nuanced things. Like I personally see the world as a very gray area. It's hard to be black and white on a lot of things. Nuance is such a nice word. It is a nice word. Actually, that I would love to know the root of the word nuance. That might be something I have to look into for Wednesday's word. Ooh, this is a good point. Agree that people should have autonomy in doing and spending their time and how they choose and what's best for them. But I do think there should be some kind of regulation or accountability for the companies to not use dark patterns or manipulative psychology to aggravate the behavior to maximize their profits. Period. Yes, if I could, my Zoom doesn't let me react, but I would clapping emoji to that because abso-freaking-lutely, yes, where there should be regulation or where there should be someone that comes in and says, actually, these are the parameters you have to work within, should be for companies, should be for the fact that like, it blows my mind. And I know this for a fact based on what I've done for a living and also being friends with people on the other side of what I do for a living, like in the influencer market. And I hate the word influencer, but I can genuinely tell you, I have a story of a friend that used to work for a company, and it was a big brand that would pull up influencers, that would put them up on a big whiteboard in a big executive meeting, and they would like pick these influencers apart, or they would like just the fact that people sit at board meetings and go, okay, this is how we're going to basically manipulate people into purchasing our product, or you know, this influencer is really good at like doing this, but they don't have this look. It's just like, it's so icky. It's such an icky feeling. Okay, April says, I'm not caught up on the book club, so I'm dropping off. Liking the book so far though. No problem. Thanks for joining in, April, and we'll see you next week. Tay says, how to attend Discord. Yes, so if you go onto YouTube and then you go to your membership tab on Kalyn's Coffee Talk, there will be a link there that will allow you to jump into the members only Discord. Now, for those of you guys that, if you joined in the last year, you might not have been around for this. If you've been in the membership club for a little while, then you might remember this. Last April, we did a refresh on the Discord. Just a heads up, this is a couple weeks prior, but I just want to let everybody know because I think some people got confused when we did it last year. That we're going to do that again this April. It's just to basically refresh the Discord so that it's only anybody that's paying for their membership that's allowed into the Discord. I think sometimes people forget to leave the Discord. So that'll be happening in April. You don't have to worry about it right now, but just want to start giving little like heads up so that, you know, people have some headway on knowing that that's coming. Okay, so we're going to dive into chapter 6 today of The Psychology of Money. This book has been like a refreshing surprise to me. I was a little worried that I wasn't not going to find this super interesting, but I think because he's going through it from the psychology aspect, it's super interesting because a lot of the things he's talking about do pertain to money, but they also could pertain to like, you could replace money with a lot of different aspects of life. Like, for instance, the not enough chapter really spoke to me about how like the more we have, the more we tend to want, and that feeling of not enoughness leaves us chasing or taking big risks that we don't need to be taking. Like we're risking what we have for what we don't have when we already have enough. That was kind of a mind. I was gonna say the F word there. That was a little that baffled me. And the first chapter I thought was really interesting too, like how nobody's crazy. This is what we were kind of just talking about with nuance. Like depending on one person's very individual upbringing, who they were raised by, what they saw, what they've experienced, what the whole world was going through while they were raised, will be so different from another's that nobody is really crazy. Everybody was just looking at everything, or specifically in this book, money, from a different perspective or from different experience. So that I also thought was really interesting as well. And then Julia says, I'm also not caught up on the book, so I'm hopping off, but where are we reading to? We're going to read to the end of chapter 11 this week, and we'll pick it up together from chapter 12 next Sunday. Okay. So I'm going to play the book out loud, and I will unmute myself at the end and chat back again. And to everybody that's hopping off, I'll see you guys next week.
Chapter 6. Tails, You Win. Heinz Berggruen fled Nazi Germany in 1936. He settled in America, where he studied literature at UC Berkeley. By most accounts, he did not show particular promise in his youth, but by the 1990s, Berggruen was, by any measure, one of the most successful art dealers of all time. In 2000, Berggruen sold part of his massive collection of Picassos, Braques, Klees, and Matisses to the German government for more than 100 million euros. It was such a bargain that the Germans effectively considered it a donation. The private market value of the collection was well over $1 billion. That one person can collect huge quantities of masterpieces is astounding. Art is as subjective as it gets. How could anyone have foreseen early in life what were to become the most sought-after works of the century? You could say skill. You could say luck. The investment firm Horizon Research has a third explanation, and it's very relevant to investors. The great investors bought vast quantities of art, the firm writes. A subset of the collections turned out to be great investments, and they were held for a sufficiently long period of time to allow the portfolio return to converge upon the return of the best elements of the portfolio. That's all that happens. The great art dealers operated like index funds. They bought everything they could, and they bought it in portfolios, not individual pieces that they happened to like. Then they sat and waited for a few winners to emerge. That's all that happens. Perhaps 99% of the works someone like Berggruen acquired in his life turned out to be of little value. But that doesn't particularly matter if the other 1% turn out to be the work of someone like Picasso. Berggruen could be wrong most of the time and still end up stupendously right. A lot of things in business and investing work this way. Long tails, the farthest ends of a distribution of outcomes, have tremendous influence in finance, where a small number of events can account for the majority of outcomes. That can be hard to deal with, even if you understand the math. It is not intuitive that an investor can be wrong half the time and still make a fortune. It means we underestimate how normal it is for a lot of things to fail, which causes us to overreact when they do. Steamboat Willie put Walt Disney on the map as an animator. Business success was another story. Disney's first studio went bankrupt. His films were monstrously expensive to produce and financed at outrageous terms. By the mid-1930s, Disney had produced more than 400 cartoons. Most of them were short, most of them were beloved by viewers, and most of them lost a fortune. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs changed everything. The $8 million it earned in the first 6 months of 1938 was an order of magnitude higher than anything the company earned previously. It transformed Disney Studios. All company debts were paid off. Key employees got retention bonuses. The company purchased a new state-of-the-art studio in Burbank, where it remains today. An Oscar turned Walt from famous to full-blown celebrity. By 1938, he had produced several hundred hours of film. But in business terms, the 83 minutes of Snow White were all that mattered. Anything that is huge, profitable, famous, or influential is the result of a tail event, an outlying one in thousands or millions event. And most of our attention goes to things that are huge, profitable, famous, or influential. When most of what we pay attention to is the result of a tail, it's easy to underestimate how rare and powerful they are. Some tail-driven industries are obvious. Take venture capital. If a VC makes 50 investments, they likely expect half of them to fail, 10 to do pretty well, and 1 or 2 to be bonanzas that drive 100% of the fund's returns. Investment firm Correlation Ventures once crunched the numbers. Out of more than 21,000 venture financings from 2004 to 2014, 65% lost money. 2.5% of investments made 10x to 20x. 1% made more than a 20x return, and 0.5%, about 100 out of 21,000, earned 50x or more. That's where the majority of the industry's returns come from. This, you might think, is what makes venture capital so risky. And everyone investing in VC knows it's risky. Most startups fail, and the world is only kind enough to allow a few mega successes. If you want safer, predictable, and more stable returns, you invest in large public companies. Or so you might think. Remember, tails drive everything. The distribution of success among large public stocks over time is not much different than it is in venture capital. Most public companies are duds. A few do well, and a handful become extraordinary winners that account for the majority of the stock market's returns. JP Morgan Asset Management once published the distribution of returns for the Russell 3000 Index, a big, broad collection of public companies, since 1980. 40% of all Russell 3000 stock components lost at least 70% of their value and never recovered over this period. Effectively, all of the index's overall returns came from 7% of component companies that outperformed by at least 2 standard deviations. That's the kind of thing you would expect from venture capital, but it's what happened inside a boring, diversified index. This thumping of most public companies spares no industry. More than half of all public technology and telecom companies lose most of their value and never recover. Even among public utilities, the failure rate is more than 1 in 10. The interesting thing here is that you have to have achieved a certain level of success to become a public company and a member of the Russell 3000. These are established corporations, not fly-by-night startups. Even still, most have lifespans measured in years, not generations. Take an example, one of these companies, Carol Co., a former member of the Russell 3000 Index. It produced some of the biggest films of the 1980s and 1990s, including the first 3 Rambo films, Terminator 2, Basic Instinct, and Total Recall. Carol Co. went public in 1987. It was a huge success, churning out hit after hit. It did $500 million in revenue in 1991, commanding a market cap of $400 million. Big money back then, especially for a film studio. And then it failed. The blockbuster stopped, a few big-budget projects flopped, and by the mid-1990s, Carol Co. was history. It went bankrupt in 1996. Stock goes to zero, have a nice day. A catastrophic loss, and one that 4 in 10 public companies experience over time. Carol Co.'s story is not worth telling because it's unique, but because it's common. Here's the most important part of this story. The Russell 3000 has increased more than 73-fold since 1980. That is a spectacular return. That is success. 40% of the companies in the index were effectively failures, but 7% of components that performed extremely well were more than enough to offset the duds. Just like Heinz Bear Gruen, but with Microsoft and Walmart instead of Picasso and Matisse. Not only do a few companies account for most of the market's return, but within those companies are even more tail events. In 2018, Amazon drove 6% of the S&P 500's returns, and Amazon's growth is almost entirely due to Prime and Amazon Web Services, which itself are tail events in a company that has experimented with hundreds of products, from the Fire Phone to travel agencies. Apple was responsible for almost 7% of the index's returns in 2018, and it is driven overwhelmingly by the iPhone, which in the world of tech products is as taily as tails get. And who's working at these companies? Google's hiring acceptance rate is 0.2%. Facebook's is 0.1%. Apple's is about 2%. So the people working on these tail projects that drive tail returns have tail careers. The idea that a few things account for most results is not just true for companies in your investment portfolio. It's also an important part of your own behavior as an investor. Napoleon's definition of a military genius was the man who can do the average thing when all those around him are going crazy. It's the same in investing. Most financial advice is about today. What should you do right now? And what stocks look like good buys today? But most of the time, today is not that important. Over the course of your lifetime as an investor, the decisions that you make today or tomorrow or next week will not matter nearly as much as what you do during the small number of days, likely 1% of the time or less, when everyone else around you is going crazy. Consider what would happen if you saved $1 every month from 1900 to 2019. You could invest that $1 into the US stock market every month, rain or shine. It doesn't matter if economists are screaming about a looming recession or new bear market. You just keep investing. Let's call an investor who does this Sue. But maybe investing during a recession is too scary. So perhaps you invest your $1 in the stock market when the economy is not in a recession, sell everything when it's in a recession, and save your monthly dollar in cash and invest everything back into the stock market when the recession ends. We'll call this investor Jim. Or perhaps it takes a few months for a recession to scare you out, and then it takes a while to regain confidence before you get back in the market. You invest $1 in stocks when there's no recession, sell 6 months after a recession begins, and invest back in 6 months after a recession ends. We'll call you Tom. How much money would these three investors end up with over time? Sue ends up with $435,551. Jim has $257,386. Tom, $234,476. Sue wins by a mile. There were 1,428 months between 1900 and 2019. Just over 300 of them were during a recession. So by keeping her cool during just the 22% of the time the economy was in or near a recession, Sue ends up with almost 3/4 more money than Jim or Tom. To give a more recent example, how you behaved as an investor during a few months in late 2008 and early 2009 will likely have more impact on your lifetime returns than everything you did from 2000 to 2008. There is an old pilot quip that their jobs are hours and hours of boredom punctuated by moments of sheer terror. It's the same in investing. Your success as an investor will be determined by how you respond to punctuated moments of terror, not the years spent on cruise control. A good definition of an investing genius is the man or woman who can do the average thing when all those around them are going crazy. Tails drive everything. When you accept that tails drive everything in business, investing, and finance, you realize that it's normal for lots of things to go wrong, break, fail, and fall. If you're a good stock picker, you'll be right maybe half the time. If you're a good business leader, maybe half of your product and strategy ideas will work. If you're a good investor, most years will be just okay, and plenty will be bad. If you're a good worker, you'll find the right company in the right field after several attempts and trials. And that's if you're good. Peter Lynch is one of the best investors of our time. If you're terrific in this business, you're right 6 times out of 10, he once said. There are fields where you must be perfect every time. Flying a plane, for example. Then there are fields where you want to be at least pretty good nearly all of the time. A restaurant chef, let's say. Investing, business, and finance are just not like these fields. Something I've learned from both investors and entrepreneurs is that no one makes good decisions all the time. The most impressive people are packed full of horrendous ideas that are often acted upon. Take Amazon. It's not intuitive to think a failed product launch at a major company would be normal and fine. Intuitively, you'd think the CEO should apologize to shareholders. But CEO Jeff Bezos said shortly after the disastrous launch of the company's Fire Phone, "If you think that's a big failure, we're working on much bigger failures right now. I am not kidding. Some of them are going to make the Fire Phone look like a tiny little blip." It's okay for Amazon to lose a lot of money on the Fire Phone because it will be offset by something like Amazon Web Services that earns tens of billions of dollars. Tails to the rescue. Netflix CEO Reed Hastings once announced his company was canceling several big-budget productions. He responded, "Our hit ratio is way too high right now. I'm always pushing the content team. We have to take more risk. You have to try more crazy things because we should have a higher cancel rate overall. These are not delusions or failures of responsibility. They are a smart acknowledgement of how tails drive success. For every Amazon Prime or Orange is the New Black, you know with certainty that you'll have some duds. Part of why this isn't intuitive is because in most fields, we only see the finished product, not the losses incurred that led to the tail success product. The Chris Rock I see on TV is hilarious, flawless. The Chris Rock that performs in dozens of small clubs each year is just okay. That is by design. No comedic genius is smart enough to preemptively know what jokes will land well. Every big comedian tests their material in small clubs before bringing it to big venues. Rock was once asked if he missed small clubs. He responded, "When I start a tour, it's not like I start out in arenas. Before this last tour, I performed at this place in New Brunswick called the Stress Factory. I did about 40 or 50 shows getting ready for the tour." One newspaper profiled these small club sessions. It described Rock thumbing through pages of notes and fumbling with material. "I'm going to have to cut some of these jokes," he says mid-skit. The good jokes I see on Netflix are the tales that stuck out of a universe of hundreds of attempts. A similar thing happens in investing. It's easy to find Warren Buffett's net worth, or his average annual returns, or even his best, most notable investments. They're right there in the open, and they're what people talk about. It's much harder to piece together every investment he's made over his career. No one talks about the dud picks, the ugly businesses, the poor acquisitions, but they're a big part of Buffett's story. They are the other side of tail-driven returns. At the Berkshire Hathaway shareholder meeting in 2013, Warren Buffett said he's owned 400 to 500 stocks during his life and made most of his money on 10 of them. Charlie Munger followed up, "If you remove just a few of Berkshire's top investments, its long-term track record is pretty average." When we pay special attention to a role model's successes, we overlook that their gains came from a small percent of their actions. That makes our own failures, losses, and setbacks feel like we're doing something wrong. But it's possible we are wrong, or just sort of right, just as often as the masters are. They may have been more right when they were right, but they could have been wrong just as often as you. It's not whether you're right or wrong that's important, George Soros once said, but how much money you make when you're right and how much you lose when you're wrong. You can be wrong half the time and still make a fortune. There are 100 billion planets in our galaxy, and only one, as far as we know, with intelligent life. The fact that you're listening to this book is the result of the longest tale you can imagine. That's something to be happy about. Next, let's look at how money can make you even happier.
Okay, so I'll be rereading that entire chapter. I know that some people are saying that that was confusing in itself. I also just like missed half of that. So I'm going to reread that chapter this week. However, this week, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to read to the end of chapter 11. Jasmine says, "Oh boy." And we'll pick it up on Sunday from chapter 12 together. It felt like a math lecture. Great. My favorite. Okay, so if anybody needs to, feel free to reread it. If anybody understood it and would like to explain it to us like we're five, feel free to do so in the Discord. Tay says, does anyone have the PDF version? I believe someone did post it into the book club conversation on Discord. So if you go there, I think somebody did find the PDF version. And again, this week, read till chapter 11. We'll pick it up from chapter 12. We are actually behind schedule this week, so I thought we were going to have an extra 10 minutes to play the music and just as we did last time, but we're actually right up on 11:30 now, and I have a teething baby that is having a rough go today, so I'm going to go help him. Thank you guys so much for hanging out this Sunday. It was so nice chatting with you. Good luck with your dopamine detoxes this week. I will chat with you guys on Discord between now and then. And until next time, I'll see you guys on Sunday. Bye.